Hello, I'm Sarah Hayden. This is Conversations with the Mayor, and here with Mayor Donna Holaday. We're both a little fatigued for different reasons, but one of them is the snow. So let's have a little bit of maybe what's, the people that have come to help and really get us cleared out, and just a little background on that, maybe start from there.
Certainly, Sarah. It's nice to be back, and it's, I think, a good timing to update the community on everything that has been going on in this past month. It has certainly been a record-breaking month for the city. We have never experienced this much snow. We're now at the 10-foot mark, which is just phenomenal. It all hitting within 4 weeks. I'm not sure what we would have done if we didn't get the help and support from the governor's office in MEMA. They sent 5 dump trucks and a skidder and backhoe backhoe and 5 dump trucks from Pennsylvania with a crew of 8, Pennsylvania DOT. Absolutely incredible group of workers. We had help from New York and with equipment and staff and operators, and also from Maryland, bringing us these, really industrial blowers, if you will, that can put snow in minutes and fill a dump truck, as opposed to us using, our front loaders and loading dump trucks, which can take us, all night and a couple days to clear a street. They have done an amazing job. We have had the gentleman from Penn DOT here from last Friday before the last storm hit, and they have just worked so hard for us. And then getting the extra equipment in was wonderful. So you add that to about 30 staff we currently have within DPS, Water, Sewer, Highway, and then we have contractors on top of that. We had within our own core group about 48 pieces of equipment on the street, but being hit this last 2 feet last weekend just buried us. It was just really, really difficult. So I know people have been concerned, particularly businesses downtown. Why are you cleaning downtown during the day? It's because these crews are available. We knew, any day they could be pulled, and we had them from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And as I said, what they did in 4 hours would have taken us 4 to 5 days. And now downtown is wide open and cleaned, and it looks great.
Yeah, and you can park and you can access all the stores.
Right. And I know it has been an incredibly challenging last 4 to 5 weeks for small businesses and retailers. And, I am sorry for that. I know the chamber is talking about, everybody go down to downtown Newburyport and buy something and spend some money, go to a restaurant, just help to, bring back life to our downtown, because they really need it. It was a really, really rough winter. But I also need all the businesses to understand that we make decisions based on our assets, availability, and public safety. Public safety is first and foremost. And, to be able to clear as much as we did with these crews here, and we lose them tomorrow morning, was really, I know, but I'm very grateful, to have an extra 24 staff and all that equipment that was here. And we still have a lot of work to do, but we certainly have come a long way. I so appreciate Lieutenant Governor has checked in with me once or twice a day since we got hit so hard last weekend. Governor has also checked in. He also said that it's Valentine's week, so again, if you haven't got out with your sweetheart, there's still plenty of time to go and have dinner or spend some time in Newburyport. But I'm also very grateful to the residents who have been kind, patient, and have sent emails with inquiries, but have been very understanding and respectful. Of course, there's always that small list of people who are just incredibly nasty and rude. I mean, I can't even tell you what some of the dispatchers, the calls that they have dealt with, and you know, my office, myself, the emails, Lois, my administrative assistants, and it's not right.
Yeah.
You know, we did not make all this happen, and we are working as fast and as hard. We have staff who, you know, go for 30, 35, maybe more hours without sleep. And just working nonstop, you know, trying to get the streets open, trying to, you know, and we, you know, pulled back in terms of ticketing. We understand that people are trying very hard to deal with sidewalks. They do the right thing, get sidewalks open, and then the plows come through and, you know, cover them up again.
There's no place, yeah.
So, you know, again, we understand. We're trying very hard to, you know, be as reasonable as possible and work with people who, you know, are just making efforts. I know that there's seniors who can't shovel or having difficulty. You know, please just call Roseanne at the Council of Aging. We have a list of people who will come and help too. But I'm hoping that this is the end of it.
Me too.
Please.
So I did get some information to post about trash, but I haven't been able to keep up with where, for myself, even to find the information on what, you know, what the trash schedule is. I did sign up for the alerts personally at home, and I did get the information that it was, you know, this week was regular week. It wasn't, you know, wasn't a day off because of the President's Day. So what can people do about trash, or maybe
they were posting on the website, so you can look for information on the city website, but it's also best to sign up for the announcements. And so what will happen is the minute something is posted in the announcement page of the city website, it kicks right over to your email. And so that's the, you know, fastest way to ensure that you're always getting the updates you need. You also can call you know, Molly Ettenborough. If you really need to, you can only imagine the call she's been inundated with. But we also have had, you know, tight cross streets in particular in the South End, Ward 3, Plum Island.
Trash gets through.
Yeah, so in order to, you know, address some of the trash issues there, we have put a large dumpster and for trash and then another one for recycling down on 115 Water Street by the wastewater treatment plant. And again, we're monitoring that to make sure that it's all, you know, the kinds of things that you should be disposed of in there, and ask for people to please do the right thing. We're trying to, you know, accommodate you if you weren't able to have your trash and recycling picked up to be able to dispose of it somewhere. So that's been, I think, a good thing that Mello has done with us, with the city too.
And so if someone misses the trash, they should be pulling their trash barrels back in. I noticed that that's also a problem.
Yes, yeah, and it's been a real issue for people putting trash barrels in the street, interfering with snow removal. We're also posting on the website, and we're trying hard to stay as true to the listing as there, but things happen. So I don't want people to say, well, wait a minute, you know, Warren Street was on the list and you didn't get to it, and what's going on, and then call and, you know, get all upset about it. You know, if it's on the list, it means that if we didn't get to it, you know, within the first 24, 48 hours, that it's coming. It will be the next. We're just, you know, ticking off as we go, but things happen. People have to be pulled in other directions. A water main may happen. We have to pull crews, you know, so there's things that have been happening that don't allow us to keep, you know, 100% to schedules, but we are trying so hard to communicate this information out to the public. We also are not, if a street, say for example Federal Street and all of downtown was all widened and cleared, we're not going to take it in tow, even though there's still a ban. We're asking people to use common sense. You know, if you drive down a cross street, particularly in the South End or Ward 3, and you see that there's no way that an emergency vehicle is going to be able to get around me if I park on the street, then please do the right thing and stick with the parking ban until your street can be widened. And we'll get there. We will. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, the South End is...
And just now understand we're back to our original crew. Yeah, I live in the South End.
Yeah,
it's really
something.
It's really tough. You know, I had during, you know, probably a week or so after, you know, the first blizzard hit, eventually my street got widened, and it was great, but it was just like days before it was back to, you know, being very, very narrow. But people just need to be patient and understand people are working as hard as they can. And as, you know, individual situations come up that are, you know, I had a friend call regarding an elder who was in a really tough situation and needed additional assistance to get plowed out because his street was missed and he was running out of oil and he was senior. So I want those calls. We want to know about how we can help in situations like that. And so we were able to get the street opened. He was able to get the oil he needed, and we want to be able to help in those kinds of situations. But we just need the information, and we'll do everything we can to help.
I know you mentioned, and I just signed up for it. I had signed up prior for some sort of an alert, but this is a different alert that I wasn't aware of, and I thought I knew most everything, but apparently I didn't. And so Councilor Cameron had sent around an email if you want to sign up for the alert. So it does go to the website. That's where you can sign up for them. Is that right? Because this was like an automatic thing. You just click, and it was actually very helpful. I got 2 alerts that night. So,
right. And be sure you check for general and emergency announcements. Same thing when you go to the website to sign up for Code Red. This is where you can put in your landline and both, your cell phone too, and so you will get alerts also on your phone when there's a code red that goes out that talks about the parking ban. And I do apologize to the community, there was not supposed to be a code red that went out at I think 11:15, 11:30 the other night. I'm so sorry, that was not supposed to happen, but what happens is you have a series of code reds that are going out, they get backed up and they just keep dialing and dialing until they get through everything, and it can extend for hours. So
that was the trash. I was like, who's calling? But
I know, it's like, or parking ban at 11:30 at night. It's like, really? So I apologize for that. That was, we're, again, trying to get communication information out to the public, but, we will be, I have talked to the police department and, said we are not sending out any phone calls after 9 o'clock, unless obviously it's a real emergency and we need to let people know that something immediately that, has happened in their neighborhood that we need to get information out to. Yeah. That's the only time you will be called after 9 o'clock.
So I noticed there are some different snow removal equipment. Has the city considered purchasing this kind of equipment for the future, or where does that?
Well, right now, we're
just super blowers.
Yeah, those super blowers are great. Right now, what we're trying to do is just because we have obviously, we're in such a deficit right now in terms of snow and ice and supplies and labor and payroll and all of that. Lord. So, once, and this is a time where we start looking at capital plan, our capital plan, our capital needs in the city also. But, I've told everybody everything is on hold until we have all the information in and all the information assembled on what we have spent, what we potentially will get for reimbursements, potentially through FEMA, MEMA, and, then we'll have to make decisions about what equipment we can purchase. But I have to tell you, I'm very, very pleased with the way our equipment has held up. And part of that is because we have made a concerted effort, under my administration to set up a capital plan and recognizing that we needed to replace trucks and plows and things like that. So
excellent. Well, that's good news. Looking at what Boston's been through, obviously it's not the same. It's much, much larger, but, to hear that that infrastructure of the subway and the mass transportation falling apart is just so disturbing. I mean, Mark, who, the board president here, said it's like 2 or 3 hours. It's just, it's awful.
And then what happens is people will be driving, because I've had to be in Boston several times, and the traffic is much worse because everyone's driving now.
Right.
And people aren't taking public transportation because it's not dependable. So it's a problem for people who commute. But, I really can't think too much about what's happening over there right now until we get through this. So a couple other things that I just wanted to talk about that have been really, really significant is what's happening on Plum Island. I think people are aware that we have been struggling with a very poorly installed water and sewer system, and have been working at the level of the Attorney General's office now for about 2.5 years. It'll be 3 years this May since that first water main break we found, and sort of all the red flags went up, and
Oh,
we started
dear.
the process because it was a brand new system. In addition to the work that we've been doing on the water system, I had been reminding all of these attorneys and the Attorney General when we were meeting that we are still going to have problems with the air-vac system, which is our sewer system, and that I don't want us to lose sight of that just because in the fall we were working on the hydrants and changing out the metals there. And sure enough, we have had major problems with the air-vac system. It's a vacuum system, sewer system. I have grave reservations about it ever having been installed on, the island, but, it's hard to go back at this point. But we've been in touch with the Commissioner of DEP, Regional Director, as I said, the Lieutenant Governor, the Governor's Office, MEMA, Head of MEMA, Kurt Swartz, has been involved. Everyone is aware of the problems we're having. Because it is such a highly technical system, the guts are on Olga Way. It's run by 4 large industrial pumps, and we have these lines that go out the main roads, carrying the vacuum pressure, and then all the side roads, attached to this. Every 3 homes has a candy cane or a sewer vent. They're white. They need to be exposed and uncovered, and in a lot of situations we have unoccupied homes, so these things are buried somewhere and they're covered, and then trying to find white it's a needle in a haystack. It's just really difficult. And so you have 3 homes in general, and then a hub, which is where you have a manhole, and underneath you have the controller and the valve system that work the overall vacuum system for your sewer in each of your homes. The problem is that these cans were supposed to be placed under soil to be insulated, and they're freezing up. And so we have another $40,000 worth of controllers and valves coming overnight express from AirVac. AirVac also is on the ground with us, helping us, trying to get this system up and running. But it's been, because what we have is leaks. And so you start working on the vacuum system, you're moving, systematically down, for example, Northern Boulevard, and then Sunset has a leak. And so you have to get back over there, you try and find it, and you stick your ear into the candy cane to listen. The system was never alarmed. It has just been an absolute nightmare. And we've been working on this 24/7 for a good solid week now in terms of getting the system back up and running.
So when you say a leak, you're talking about a leak in the pressure that's pulling?
Correct. It's pulling a leak in the vacuum. And when you have low vacuum, it doesn't work.
Right, yeah.
And so what's happened is that we have I think we're up to 28 homes now that are having backups into their showers or sewers. But it's not the same as if your sewer main broke in your house and your whole cellar fills with sewage. There's only 10 gallons that each of these manholes hold. So that's what's backing up into people's homes. And we've asking them to please, number one, shovel out your candy cane, and have asked everyone to use, depending on where you are in the chain of the repairs, either not to use water at all or to be very conservative with it. But once you notice that the amount of sewage that is in your tub dissipates or in your toilet, then you can start using the system again. But, we're asking people to get paper plates, don't do laundry, don't do dishes, do the only things that are absolutely critical. We also have, service master out there who's going into each of the homes that have been affected and working with them on a case-by-case basis about their needs. And then at some point, depending on how long it is to get the system up and running, we have to be able to look at alternatives in terms of residences, especially for people who are older and people who might have small children.
Yep. This sounds really awful.
It is.
Really awful. That's really a shame, that you could actually anticipate that this problem could happen, and then just a set of circumstances with the amount of snow.
Oh, it was just like the perfect storm.
Yep. How high are those candy cane things are you talking about? I think I've seen them. They're pretty low to the ground.
Well, some, it's interesting because some are very small. They're just, maybe a foot or so. But I think in general, I would say that they stand about, 2.5 to 3 feet.
I know, and I did see some pictures that were posted, from Plum Island. They're the wind and what it's done with this, the drift.
And actually shutting down the island.
Yeah.
I obviously have been out on the island a lot, but I think it was Sunday night, I almost didn't get off before they shut it down because the drifting, it's a total whiteout.
Yeah.
So that you add that, the amount of snow, if your road, has not been fully plowed yet, which I think we've gotten to every road, except in situations where people snow blow it back into the street, which is also, I get that, there's nowhere to put the snow, but you can't be blowing your, snow back into the street.
Yeah.
And then you add the problems with the sewer system. So it's been tremendously challenging for people who are out on Plum Island. And, we've put, again, a lot of resources out there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel bad for those people. Yeah, you have to be grateful for what you have. I mean, we've had power, and that's just been a blessing.
I know.
Just a blessing.
The only, I guess we're sort of in one of those mixed bag situations where originally they were talking about another foot of snow or another dramatic storm coming on Sunday, but the temperature, even though it's going to plummet tomorrow, is going to rise into the 40s, I understand, on Sunday, which is the next event.
Oh, no, we're going to get rain?
It's going to be all rain. So that means more freezing, more dams, more challenges with roofs, and I need people, please to go out and uncover your storm drains. Otherwise, we're going to have major flooding in homes because the water has nowhere to go. That's at least one issue that doesn't affect Plum Island. They don't have any storm drains. So people have been great about helping with hydrants for the most part, and people have been helping neighbors. I know we've had a couple situations with vents that have been covered, but for the most part, I think people have gotten the message about making sure all your vents are uncovered, gas vents, dryer vents, those kinds of things, and have been helping neighbors. And now this is the next level of what we need, is that, got to get out there and get your storm drains uncovered.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I think there's some at the bottom of the street that are probably covered up.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're covered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Mayor, you've brought me bad news, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but, all things considered, we've had our schools open more than other communities. We only lost one building to date.
Yeah, that was a shame too.
It was awful. And, the apartment complex, but the management company stepped right up. The entire emergency team worked flawlessly, exactly the way it's supposed to work in the event of this, with emergency management and evacuation and the Red Cross getting involved, and the Salvation Army did a great job. People were, able to go to, neighbors or friends, and, the roof is being shored up as we speak. They got the snow and ice off the other buildings so the residents could stay, and it's about a 2-week repair process.
So they'll be able to move back in
very soon.
Oh, good. That's
so,
good to know.
I mean, all things considered, when you look at some of the other catastrophic collapses across the state.
Oh, terrible.
I mean, I think, and the fact that we haven't lost power, it's just been the amount of snow in the sewer system on Plum Island, really.
Yep.
And that, if just everybody can just be a little kinder and a little more
It makes
patient.
you feel grumpy, the snow.
I get that.
Yeah, I'm not a grumpy person.
But why is it your fault when I call you that I'm going to scream and yell at you and hang up on you or swear at you or call you names?
Yeah.
When all you're trying to do is the best job possible.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening at, DPS. I mean.
Yeah, they're taking a lot. I know. I can imagine. I can imagine. It's hard. People get angry and they don't know who to turn to, so they're going to take it out on somebody, and unfortunately it's going to be a plow driver or something like that. But
This too will pass. What did I see posted? We're at just a month from spring?
Yes.
31 days to spring or something?
Yeah.
We're almost out of it.
Yeah, and the snow will be here, but the temperature should shift, and that's one important thing.
Yes, we will have Mount Cashman and Mount Perry.
Well into July.
I mean, everyone thought that it was such a great thing that we were able to get permission to push the river, but the river's frozen. The snow's not going anywhere. And think about it. Where did the snow go when it melted previously, before we had permission? At Cashman? Where did it melt to? Right into the river anyway.
Yeah.
So, in one sense, we had hoped it would at least help give us a little more space. But it's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered a lot. We can wrap it up in a minute if you have anything else you'd like to add. I mean, this has been a quick. We're almost at 30 minutes. Just
it goes by so fast when we talk about this, but this was been the big issue here. But I am giving my State of the City Monday night, and promise I will only talk very little about snow because I think nobody wants to talk about snow anymore. So we'll talk about more of all the accomplishments that we've been able to achieve as a community this past year, and there's a lot to celebrate. So. And we're almost out of this crisis, and we can move forward to look at brighter days. Excellent. Well, thank you for taking the time and coming. And I know we had to scramble a little bit because I, for some reason, did not look at the schedule right. So it's okay. But here we are. So thank you very much for coming and doing this. I think it's very important for the city to hear your voice and have some follow up on what's been happening. And we'll see you next month. Yes. So thank you for watching Conversations with the Mayor. We'll see you again.